Hello, and welcome. I am Kimberly K. LaBoo, CEO and founder of LaBoo Publishing Enterprise, and we are back with another segment of the LPE Author Chat series, and this is the final interview and our special anthology segment. Tonight, our guest is Miss Tamara Gooch. She is master coach, blogger, author, speaker, trainer, and hashtag CEO Mama. Tamara is the founder and CEO of Pink Pearl LLC, a transformational movement that magnifies the triumphant voices and stories of women with boldness, confidence, and truth. With Phenomenon, a 40 at 40 blog, and the Savvy Entrepreneurs Incubator Group, a think tank, next level innovative learning platform, Tamara has established the concept of online community building and engagement, building and creating an elite, high-result society of everyday women who are impacting the world in monumental ways. Her formula for success is simple: faith, fierceness, fearless, fabulousness. Ooh, I feel some kind of way saying that. Action and incessant education. Tamara she propels her clients forward with the blueprint and tools needed to launch and grow a successful business and monetize their genius in the most efficient way while enjoying their lives, their time with family, and a lifestyle of freedom. Welcome to Tamara Gooch.
Thank you for having me. I was trying to share it out before you got done to a couple places.
Oh, no worries, no worries. So, welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to the Author Chat series. You are one of 20 women who participated in the anthology Set Apart and Chosen. God uses ordinary women to do extraordinary things.
Yes,
Yes, your chapter in the book was titled The Woman Behind the Smile. So first, I just want to ask you, what made you say yes to this project?
I don't say yes to a lot. I'm very careful with what I say yes to, but when I saw the title, being my first anthology, and I consider myself, I like to personalize my experience with God. And as his magnificent masterpiece, the title just hit me because I feel I am set apart and chosen. So it was like, with you, and I follow you. We've been friends on Facebook for a minute, and I love the work that you do. And I was like, you know what? She's the perfect person to partner with and do an anthology with. I would love to do that because I know it needs to reach millions of women.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Thank you so much. So I am so excited and just happy that you said yes, because of course you penned a powerful story in the book, The Woman Behind the Smile. And in your chapter, you took us through this in-depth timeline of your life. I mean, you covered everything from losing your virginity, your first drink, smoking marijuana, abuse, sexual assault, homelessness. I mean, you just shared a lot of stuff, and that was a lot of stuff for you to mask, but yet you were talking about how you were hiding it all behind your beautiful smile.
Yeah.
And so in your chapter, you wrote, "We hide behind a smile, and the response most women use when asked the question, 'How are you?' is blessed and highly favored." You know, we use that one, right?
Yes.
You see, many of us have mastered the art of smiling our way through challenges. We attend church, recite scriptures, sing praise and worship, smile, speak and hug everyone we see, and then leave church still doubting. And you said that was you. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, most people may look at that and think, well, she must have grown up in a broken home. And I didn't. I grew up, both parents, they showed us love every day. We were at church. But growing up, being the youngest of so many kids, and although my family loved me, you always heard that, well, and it didn't come from my parents. My parents have always told us, you can do and be whatever it is that you want to do. But from other family, you hear that, well, you should be like, you should try and act like, or why don't you try and do? So that kind of ingrains in your head. And
Yeah.
as you grow up and moving from the South to the North, I wanted to fit in. And in trying to fit in, I lost sight of me. And in losing sight of who I was in that age of 15, growing up into, your early 20s, I made wrong decisions. I made bad choices. So I didn't have a clue who I was.
Wow.
But I knew I had a beautiful smile. I was always in church. Every week I was in church. So in watching other women smile, and it was like as soon as I would see them, oh, the hugging of the people, and oh yeah, hey, sister this.
Yeah.
And then I would see them sit, and then that beautiful would go to this somber look of distress or something's wrong. And I'm thinking to myself at that moment, like, okay, her life must be miserable.
Wow.
But not realizing the path that I took, I start falling into that same category. So I learned to mask and figured I needed a mask for church. I needed a mask when I went around family, when I went to work, when I hung around friends, because I didn't want too many people inside because I didn't trust. So I thought, okay, they would take my information, tell everybody, and I would be exposed. So then I would have to let everybody know what's going on inside.
Wow.
So I just smiled my way through and dealt with a lot of things. Yeah.
And so that's what kind of made you feel like you had to keep up that happiness persona.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because having a child when you're a child yourself, I was 18, 19 when I got pregnant.
Wow.
I had no high school diploma because I dropped out in the 11th grade. So, I was the statistic. You won't be anything, you won't do anything, you won't have anything. And people don't realize when you say these things to a young lady, it becomes her. If she feels at that time she's not strong enough to overcome those things. So I just soaked it up and just got a job and worked until I realized, you know what, I'm made for more than this. And even going through it, I would always laugh now when I stand on stage and speak to people and I tell them I was depressed and didn't even know it because I masked so well that I went to work, I went to church, I went around family, and I found ways to just kind of let me set aside my emotions, my feelings, my hurt, my angst, and let me put on airs for what I think people want to see in me. So, yeah.
Wow. That's many women's story.
Oh, yeah.
Many
Oh, yeah.
story, right?
Yeah.
So you even talked about the African American household, and you said in the African American household you were taught to be strong, to withstand the storms of life. You cry it out in the bathroom, clean your face, and come out ready to tackle the world.
Oh,
So
yeah.
in what ways do you think that teaching has helped us and harmed us as African American women?
It has harmed us because we have this stigma of being the angry Black woman. We are passionate about what we feel, and when we voice what we feel, how we feel, it comes across to others as if we're angry.
Yeah.
And I come from a household where I'm the youngest, so I had to talk loud to be heard. And I laugh now and tell my husband that. I'm like, okay, when I'm talking loud, it's not that I'm angry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you to hear me, but I'm passionate about what I'm saying. I'm very passionate about what I'm saying. So it has harmed us in that way because all Black women aren't angry. All Black women aren't jealous of one another. All Black women um, don't hate on one another. But I it helped us in a sense that we learn how to deal with some of the most difficult situations
Yeah.
that any woman has ever had to deal with. Black women know how to be graceful and poised in the midst of a storm.
True.
But the thing that we need to learn to add to that is that because you were taught to be strong, it's okay to be weak.
Mm.
You're not less than because you show your weakness.
Yeah.
You're not. That my father would always tell us, when you're your strongest is when you're your weakest. And when you're your weakest is when you're your strongest, because we're pulling on God's strength.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is so ingrained in me.
Mm-hmm. So like I said, in this book, you talked about so many things like I've listed before. So what was it like for you to write about such intimate details of your life in this chapter?
Mm. I won't say I struggled. The struggle was writing my first book.
Okay.
That was a struggle, but it was therapeutic because God allowed me to relive every moment writing that book, but there were still some things that I left out of that book. So when this opportunity came, and I sat here in my office sometimes to 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, going back and forth like, Lord, what do I share? And I said, you know what? Nope, I need to put it out there. I need to get the rest out of here and out there, because there are women who come to me. I'm 44. There are women who come to me who are 60,
Wow.
who are still carrying hurt.
Yes.
Women who are 70 who are carrying hurt. And I was like, you know what? No, it's not for me. Yeah, it may come across to some people like, oh, and she's in the church? Yeah, I am. The most hurt is in the church.
Ooh,
But
say that.
too many women hide behind it. And I'm thinking, no, some of these folks in the church, these church women need this, so that when you're up on the altar laying there, you're not picking it back up when you're getting up walking outside.
Wow.
You're
Wow.
leaving it there. So I needed to throw it out. I needed to just pour everything out so that other women can read this and say, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Wow. I need to stop. I need to hang up the mask, and I need to release all of this that I've been holding on to, because my body is starting to be affected by what I've been holding on to for so many years.
Wow, that's true. And it does have an impact. And sometimes you don't realize it. It slowly creeps up. But
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you talked also about the process of rediscovery. You went through this process of rediscovery. You said, I tried to rediscover myself and heal from the years of abuse, people pleasing, being ostracized, rejected, the sexual assault, and the internal damage that sat there for years. So talk to me a little bit about that rediscovery process and what that was like for you.
It was something that I didn't want to go through. I did not want to go through it because I did not want to. I had to acknowledge it. I hear so many people say, own it, own it, own it, own it. Well, before you own it, you got to acknowledge it.
True.
I had to acknowledge everything that was there. And the process that God took me through, because I fought him. I fought for a long time. And I was so disobedient. But it was one day, And the process that I went through and the things that the Holy Spirit was just dropping in me, it made me go sit in the corner of my bathroom in a fetal position, and I was just bawling, crying out like, oh my God. And all of the questions, all of it was like the Holy Spirit was saying, I'm laying this out for you because you were trying to be everything that everybody else wanted you to be.
Wow.
Instead, you're not realizing who you really are. And I'm going to say this. Some people, maybe churchy church, but I had to stand in my full length mirror naked.
Yeah.
I was told the download, don't judge. Don't look at your roles, your scars, your marks, your blemishes, none of that. But I want you to see you the way I see you, God. Oh, I just bawled. I was like, oh my God. So when people say, I want to be more like Jesus, or I want God to show me, you better be ready for him to show you, because he showed me, and I was like, oh, I'm ugly because all of the hurt and pain, my tongue could cut you like a knife.
Oh, wow.
And it was like I didn't care because of the hurt that I was feeling. I'm going to hand you some Kleenex and I'm going to go on about my day with a smile on my face. But I had to be dealt with, and I was dealt with. But I appreciate the rediscovery of Tamara Gooch, because now nobody can tell me who I am.
Wow.
Nobody can say, well, you're this or you're that, or, you need to. No, I know that. God's still working on me in some areas, but he has shown me who I am, whose I am, and my purpose on this earth. So I was done chasing my purpose. I'm done chasing that, because what was in me the day I came into this earth.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So that's a good segue into this part, because after that whole rediscovery process, you talked about how God began to use your voice. And with that was like, you said, when the Lord uses you to do a work in the lives of others, he will pull up parts of your past that you tried to bury due to shame, guilt, embarrassment, or simply wanted to keep those secrets and never wanted anyone to know. But okay, so you could talk a little bit about that, because you said how you were in this back and forth battle with God over that one when he was trying to finally begin to use your voice.
Yeah. It was a long, and I have always been taught by my mother, because I thought she had a direct link to God. Seriously, I've seen things in her speaking and her prayer life that I just used to always rub up against her. But I remember her always telling me, talk to God the way you talk to your girlfriends. Talk to God the way you talking to me. She said, don't get caught up in people who has the Christendom type conversation. And I found myself talking to God that way. I was like, okay, Lord, you got to be crazy. I'm not going to do this. I'm not doing it. And no matter, every time I said that, it was like God would say, yeah, you are. You are. I love you, but you are. And I'm going, no, but it's embarrassing. I can't stand on stage and share this part of my life. Those were things that I said, oh no, this in the vault. The only other person who know anything about this is Jesus, because I'm not sharing with nobody else.
Wow.
But the more I fought, the more I got opportunities to speak on stage without submitting any type of request or application to do any speaking engagements. And I kept saying, all right, Lord, now you got a sense of humor, because I know. But the first day I stood there and I shared that part with the ladies, where I went and spoke, and I said, you all have to understand, there has been a battle with me and God. I said, I didn't want to come here to speak. I said, and you all see who won.
Mm.
In the end, God's going to win. And I found my voice that first time I stood on stage and I spoke. Because I'm like, okay, give me a stage to speak on anytime. I'll tell my story. I just want to make sure the people who are out in the audience listening are ready to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said, I knew at that moment sharing my testimony was a part of my purpose.
Yes.
What a revelation.
Yes.
What a revelation.
Yes.
Wow. So when people read your chapter in Set Apart and Chosen, what is it you want them to gain from it?
I want them, when I think about what I want them to gain, I want them to go from clutter to clarity. Because you can have clutter in your mind, in your life, in your household. I want them to be shook up. I want them to be awakened. I want them to be rediscovered. I want them to finally realize and acknowledge the ugly that they've been putting in the vault, because the bones are starting to fall out the closet. The rug is too lumpy because they've swept too much underneath it.
Wow.
So it's time to clear the clutter out of the house. It's time to get that clarity about your destiny on this earth, what God has desired for you to do. And stop saying, I name it, claim it. How can you claim something that God has already promised you?
Wow.
All he wants you to do is walk in it. Wow. Believe him. So I want them to walk away with the understanding of truly who they are. And not who the pastor said they are, not who their husband said they are, not who their girlfriends or their parents or their siblings said they are, but who God says they are. And a woman will walk with a certain boldness and confidence. I tell my husband, and he laughs at me. I said, he said, you walk in a room a little different. I said, no, I saunter. I will saunter in this room like I own it. I will saunter in here. I'm gliding because my mother taught me to watch your poise. Check your poise. How are you standing? Because a woman of God doesn't walk around with her shoulders all hunched over, head down, looking distressed. No. And if you're not feeling okay, say so. Say, today is not a good day for me. So I want women to walk away not empowered, but wanting to change, wanting to acknowledge what they're going through, what they've gone through, so that they can rediscover or discover themselves and start living a life of true freedom and not just regurgitating words that they hear other people say.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's real good. So I'm just going to share one little last nugget from the book. And if you guys want any more of it, you will have to buy the book, read the story.
That's right. Buy the book.
We shared enough here. But anyway, the last thing is in your closing, you said, my past was purposed as a catalyst to provide me the keys to my future. That is powerful. That is powerful. So that's that whole, it all works together for the good. Man.
Yes.
Yes. So what advice would you have for those who might be contemplating writing their story?
I'll share a quote my father would say before I give that advice. Many people will come up with an excuse why they shouldn't share their story. And my father would always tell us this: excuses are monuments to nothing, building bridges to nowhere.
Wow.
So for those who think, I'm going to keep my story here, you're not going anywhere. Because your story was not meant just for you.
That's right.
It was meant to break other people free of the bondage that they find themselves in. And you don't know who you're saving by sharing your story.
Wow. You don't know who you're saving by sharing your story.
Yeah.
That's a powerful word right there. That's a powerful word because it is so true. You don't
Yeah.
know. You don't know. Somebody is waiting on what you have
Right now.
to offer.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right now.
So I
Wow.
would tell them, go buy the book right now. Go buy the book.
Yes. Okay. And since you said that, how can people purchase the book from you?
Well, they can go to www.setapartandchosenTamaraGooch.com and purchase the book. I will make sure that I put the link up in here and on my page so that everyone can go and purchase it today,
Yeah.
tonight, tomorrow.
Because
Yes.
today is the last day of the pre-order campaign for you to
Yes.
get your autographed copy from Tamara and whatever that special gift is
And
that
a
you have.
special gift.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
today is the day. So go today to her
That's
website
right.
to purchase a copy of the book from Tamara C. Gooch.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's broadcast. It's just been a pleasure talking to you. Do you have any parting thoughts for the people?
The only thing that I want to say to them is just go purchase the book. Not just my story, but the other women in this book. Everyone has something that will touch you. I'm sure of it. So I would really implore each of you to go and purchase the book right now.
Yeah. And the link, Mary has put the link in the chat already. So it's
Thank
right there.
you.
You can click on it.
Yes.
All right. Stay right there, Tamara. Thank you
Okay.
guys for joining us for another episode of the LPE Author Chat series. We have wound up our final episode, wrapped up our final episode of the special anthology series with the wonderful and amazing, extraordinary women of Set Apart and Chosen. God uses ordinary women to do extraordinary things. We thank you guys for watching the series. I thank you for hanging out with us. These have been some powerful, powerful testimonies. If you've missed any of it, you can go back or you can go actually to my YouTube channel at Ms. Kimberly, and all of the interviews are on that channel. They are also on the LaBoo Publishing Enterprise page on Facebook. You just have to scroll a little and all of the beginnings are there. But for the fresh copies, you can go to my YouTube channel to find those. But thank you so much for hanging in there with us. It's been a phenomenal series. And thank you to all of the ladies of Set Apart and Chosen. I appreciate each and every one of you. You did a phenomenal job with this book. I had to reread the entire thing in 2 days. It's a proof copy. And I'm blown away every time I reread it. So you guys did an amazing job. So thank you guys for joining us again. And stay tuned for what's next to come. Don't forget to go and buy the book. And for those of you who may be thinking about writing your book, as Tamara said, it's time to do it. It's time to do it. Somebody is waiting on your story. Somebody's waiting on your story. So visit www.laboopublishing.com. Let's get your story told as well. Thank you, be blessed, and have a good night, guys.